not believe or agree with the agenda of the present administration. As a matter of fact, they do not support him in the primaries and in the election in general. But some people will say the case of El-Rufai is different. As a matter of fact, he was almost even sworn in. He was nominated as a minister. And another thing, I want you to also react to that. Why you react to that? Another thing that El-Rufai is saying that the APC has derailed from its objective of fighting corruption and some other founding objectives. As a matter of fact, he says he's one of the founding fathers of the party, and it has derailed from the founding objective. Do you agree with El-Rufai on that stance?
Okay, first of all, I think El-Rufai is someone that I like, as a matter of fact. Right from his days as SPC minister. In fact, you cannot write the story of SPC today, especially the modern day SPC, right from 2002 to 2004, without finding the footprint of El-Rufai, almost especially in the AMAX. That's Abuja Municipal Center. You can't, because I spent some of my time in Abuja during those periods. You can't. So when it comes to El-Rufai, right? So you know it's someone that wants to get results, a go-getter, fantastic administrators, and so on and so forth. However, and that view also give it to him. Even during the last administration, there were times that he disagreed with the policies of the administration. Let's not the fact that we know that El-Rufai is a Buhari boy, right? Right, on the CPC. Exactly on the issue of federalism. In fact, a committee was set up that he was the chairman of that committee that went around the country, articulate views of people's, and came up with a fantastic report. Even that report is gathering dust as we speak, part of another problem in Nigeria, on federalism, on how to restructure the country in such a way that we can decentralize power and give more power to the state to do certain things, right? So you see him coming out, during the
cashless policy
of Emefiele. You saw him bring all that and say no. So he is someone that is that careless, doesn't care, he speaks his mind. And so I'm not surprised when he talks about what he's doing in the APC. And I think, to be fair enough to him also, I strongly believe also that there are certain things going on within the party that is not too healthy. He raised a couple of issues, for instance, that the NWC has not met, the NEC has not met.
Yes.
Most of the organs of the parties are dead, they are not doing anything. And these are issues that give concerns and that can also, right, lead to frustration and can force some of their members to leave the party. So I think he has raised some valid points, he has raised some valid issues concerning the way the party is being run. Of course, it's also seen as that the party is being run by certain cabal. Right, so we had the cabals during Buhari. Maybe it's the time for the cabal of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have his own voice running the show. Right. But it's not too good for the party. That's the matter, and I completely agree with him that the party is also needs to also be careful, right, to see how they can manage some of those. However, the issue is also that as a member of a political party also, you also have internal mechanism of how you can address some of those issues, whereby you can write, you can inform us, okay, studies are not going. The question would then be that, can we confirm if I have done that? Because normally you try to exhaust those internal mechanisms to express
coming out
your grievances. And they say, no, guys, we're not doing certain things rightly. Why are we not having anything? Have you written letters? Have you talked to the people who are in charge? Have you done all of that? Do you understand me now? If that has not been done, or if he also feels that going through that has not even make any sense because they have already shut him out, which is possible also, right? Let me be a devil's advocate. I'm not holding brief for you. But probably you have seen the writing on the wall that he has been shut out from being part of the people who call the shots, right? Because of course he already said he was not interested in being part of the administration of the Parliament will be wins the election. We knew how people convinced him to make that promise in Kaduna, which he did. He was nominated, but only God knows what happened between that nomination period, the screening and the old drama. So maybe he felt that, okay, you guys shot me, I'm coming back for all of you.
All right.
That's just what but,
All right.
but when you take out all of those drama, are there valid issues that he has raised concerning the way APC is being run? Yes, the answer is yes.
All
so
right.
and I think that APC might need to look into that also.
All right. Now let's switch gears into the other part of the conversation, which is the latest development between the Nigerian Labour Congress and the NCC as to the 50% tariff hike on telecommunications. You would recall that there is a 50% increase in telecommunications as approved by the federal government. And this has generated quite a lot of tension, controversy, which was meant to, prompt a nationwide protest today. But the federal government and the NLC have reached an agreement and set up a committee to oversee the whole situation. But first, what does this 50% tariff hike means for Nigerians to begin with?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I think the first thing is I always like us to be careful when we have issues like this, where where you have emotion is high, right? And it is easy to fit towards the masses, of course, who are going to pay, and not look at the argument of the telecom operators also. So I think we just have to find a balance in our analysis, and then I'll try to do that.
Okay.
The last time we had the increase in telecom tariff was in 2013. I'm sure if I ask you as doing that, if you are running a business, right, so I'd like to say, Professor, that people can understand. So let's assume that you have a company and you have a product that you sell, and government regulates that product. But that's what we're dealing with. And because government feel like it's the product that needs to be regulated, so that you not cheat the people, right? And government is doing, you cannot sell this product, or you cannot charge certain stuff on this product beyond, let's say, 20 naira. So government sits down with you, right, and they look at the factors such as your inputs that will make you to produce that particular product, right? And government saying, okay, after back and forth, okay, we are saying sell at this month at this particular price because you make certain profits, don't go overboard. And the last time government had that conversation with you was 2013. Are you following me?
Yes.
And after since 2013, you have maintained that same position, that same price. The government said you must not sell. It can't sell above that particular price since 2013. Are you following me now?
Yes.
And since 2013 to date, price of fuel has gone up like how many times? That's number one. Minimum wage can be increased how many times? Dollar naira fluctuation had increased from 2013. I'm sure if I ask you now, the dollar rate 2013 and dollar rate now, I'm sure you know the answer, right? And you are still telling the guys in the telecom sector saying, do increase the price. I'm sure if you're in that sector, and that's I want us to see how we can personalize it. You have two options left for you, doing. Because one, the input, the cost of your production has increased. And the government saying you cannot sell above what you are selling 10 years ago. The first option for you is to pack your bags and go to another country where you can do your business. Right? Am I communicating?
Yes.
The second option would be that you diversify your investment into another sector completely, where government does not have full regulation. Those are the two options. Right? And if you carry out those two options, it will have its own impact, its own implication. One, there will be job loss. People will lose their job. Am I communicating?
Yes.
Right? People will lose their job. People will not have access to that product. And assuming it's a critical product that is very, very critical to the people, and there are no alternatives, just imagine what will happen. So let us bring that same analogy to what we are dealing with. So we are simply telling the telecom guys and saying, oh, the last time the government increased tariff was 2013. And we're saying you have to continue to maintain that tariff increase of 2013 till date. That is what we are dealing with. And telecom guys are now saying, it's not possible. Even you as a government, right, you have increased so many things based on even your policies, based on the economic reforms and policies that we are dealing with. Don't forget, let me give an example. Each telecom guys, let's use MTN as an example. MTN have masks. They are masks, right? If you go to their masks, those masks, they are using diesel to power those generators. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, compare the price of diesel in 2013 to the price of diesel right now. And you're saying, I'm just using diesel as an example. And you can know, just imagine liters of diesel they are spending every day to power a mass so that you and I can have this kind of conversation that we're having right now from Ido to Ado. And you are saying that you cannot increase your tariff because it is over-regulated. It's a system that is completely regulated by the government. Okay? And the implication of that is, instead of the telecom guys to expand their business, invest more in the business so that they can provide more services for you guys that
All right. All right.
good, effective, and everything. I'm not going to do that. So that is on the argument of telecom guys.
All right. All right.
So basically, they are simply saying the operational cost is on the high side. We need to look into something. Now, on the side of the people also, if we increase tariff, for instance, if we increase the tariff, let's break it down. If you are buying 1 gigabyte at 1,000 before, you'll be buying at 1,400. If you are making calls at 11 naira per minute before, you'll be making calls at 15 naira per minute if they increase by 50%. Are there going to be implications also? Yes, because again, as myself and you are making these calls now, we will spend more money on data compared from before. Now, people are not saying, looking at the current hardship of the removal of fuel subsidy, do we, and electricity tariff is also on the horizon. People are talking about electricity tariff. We see how Bande, they want to increase. So you could see where the issue is coming from now. If you do this now, it means that people who are struggling to eat might even find it difficult to even buy data to make calls. So you are talking about where we can have access to education, using digital platform, data. But if you cannot afford data, it does affect a lot of things. It does affect businesses, affect the common man. So I think there are arguments for both sides.
All right. All right.
What is important is for both sides now to sit down. And I want to appeal to them to have a sincere conversation and look at how we can then have a common ground in such a way that on one hand, the interests of telecom guys are protected, but in protecting their interests, you also put too much burden on Nigeria. And that was on that.
All right. 070470077001, 0707276628. Those are the lines to call to react or to be part of the conversation this morning. As we are running out of time, I'd like to ask, the federal government and the NLC have reached an agreement, and part of the concerns of the NLC is that 50% increase is too high, and that, just like you have suggested, that something should be done. They've called for probably a lesser, or something lesser than 50% should be reached on, which is hopefully maybe the committee that was set up via that MOU that was signed will consider. Are you also considering, or would you also suggest that that should be implemented, thus balancing the interest of both parties?
Yeah, so like I said, I think what is important is both parties must come together, sit down, and speak to data. See, that's why that is interested in all of this. Speak to data. Let's see what the data is telling us. And if you don't want 50%, you also bring something to the table. But that you say there will not be an increase, I think Nigerians need to understand that that's not going to work. There's going to be an increase. But what we also don't want is we don't want an increase that will put a burden on the initially the telecom guys were asking for 100% increase in tariff. The NCC, through the Minister of Digital Communication, were able to convince and arrive at 50%. So they said that okay, we also made some sacrifice and and say okay, we are taking 50%. Let's be. I am not saying this 50% you cannot increase it. So I think that they should speak to data, look at what data speaks to, and find a common ground whereby the interest of telecom guys is protected, and at the same time you also protect the common masses on the streets. And I'm sure at the end of the day, they will arrive at something. But there will not be an increase. You should forget there's going to be an increase. I've been around 2013, and you wanted to continue the business. I'm not sure nobody wants to be in that kind of sector. You rather live. That's just for the matter. Or the feels that they are business in Nigeria.
All right, we are running out of time. You earlier said if I would permit you to give your, final take on some of the issues we started with. That's on democracy, the state of Nigeria at this time, and business sector like we talked about. There are issues as to the price of petrol, the Dangote refinery, the concern by Petro, and so many other things so far. But in this, let's say since the start of this year, as we wind down now, what would you call the state of Nigeria in, almost all sectors?
I don't know why you're putting on the spot on this. I think, by and large, I love to speak to data. So that the data is what that guides us. We are still dealing with inflation. The inflation is on the high side. We are dealing with food inflation, which is actually driving our inflation. It's also on the high side, right? We are dealing with a situation whereby our revenue is not even enough for us to even take care of our budgets. I wish I have time I would have did some analysis and simplify for our listeners to understand what I mean by that. And people are not happy. That's what matter. If you carry out a survey right now, I'm sure 8 out of 10 will tell you that things are not too good for them. They're just trying to manage. And that's what we're dealing with currently.
All right.
Is the government doing anything to ameliorate all of that? I think the answer is yes. But what they are doing, are they doing in such a way that it's so fast, the intensity of what they are doing to ameliorate this suffering, the pace at which I expect them to be carrying out some of those programs, policies that will put in the impact of these policy reforms. The pace is not too good. I'm not too okay with the pace. And I think that's where the issue is. And I think along the line, Nigerians, let me just wrap up with this, must be the voice for themselves. And I think they must use their platform to continue to speak and tell the government to do the right thing. And while doing that also, we should not make mistake of focusing on the president. I've said it several times. Our governors are one of the major problems that we are dealing with in Nigeria. So while you are asking the federal government to look at their policies, even the funds that the governors are getting as we speak, what are they doing with it? The other time we saw a state governor buying goats.
As empowerment.
That same governor is about to spend 3.5 billion on spreading. These are things that are disheartening. These are things that are very, very sad. That you ask yourself, are these guys thinking outside the box? Do they read that thinking cap in a country whereby we are dealing with sort of revenue? And the revenue that you are getting that will have been spent on critical infrastructures that can drive human capacity development in your state. You are spending it on goods. You are spending it on mass wedding, 3.5 billion. Right. You see, these are issues, and I think Nigerians must wake up while you are asking the president to do something. Focus should be on the governors. Right. They are the major problem. At the end of the day, they receive all this money every month, and they come back to what are they doing? They pay salary and do 1 or 2 rows, and then they call jamboree, and that is all. I think that's what I think Nigerians should be doing right now. As we
All
move
right,
into this
we are totally running. We are totally out of time. We need to go now. But I must say thank you so much for your contribution, for your response. Always, having this kind of conversation as to explaining some of the things that we are experiencing as Nigerians, to the general public. Public affairs analyst Asiwaju Oladoyin, thanks a lot for your time on the show this morning.
Thank you very much, Gary. See you next time.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And that's where we wrap it up on this morning's edition of the Follow-Up on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, as we've just discussed on some of the implications, unravel some of the mysteries behind some of this latest development in terms of democracy and the business sector of the country. Till next week when another beautiful edition of the show returns, my name is Oladoyin Ayegbusi. Do enjoy the rest of the day.